Well, sadly, as we learn more about the lead up to this horrible mass shooting, another one. Yeah, not the one in Texas, not the one. We're now up to the one in Highland Park, Illinois. As we learn more about it and we learn more about the shooter, we learn that yet another one of these often repeated phrases from the more guns in more places American right wing is meaningless. It is worth absolutely nothing to us. We have now learned that the shooter legally bought the guns used in the mass shooting after becoming known to police and police taking a number of knives from the eventual shooter. The right loves to say, listen, we can't take rights away. But if there are specific people known to police, believed to be dangerous, we need some kind of system to prevent them from getting guns. But we can't take away too many rights either. And blah, blah, blah. We shouldn't do anything about guns in general. Well, we had that here, and yet still able to legally buy firearms. Let's get into the New York Times article that explains this. Highland Park suspect was known to police, bought guns legally. The man accused of killing 7 and wounding dozens of others in a shooting that terrorized a 4th of July parade had been investigated by the local police before. Officers had responded in 2019 after someone reported that he had tried to kill himself, and they came to his home a few months later, seizing a knife collection after a family member reported he had pledged to, quote, kill everyone. They knew about him. Still, in the years since, the man was able to legally buy several guns in Illinois, including a high-powered rifle that officials said was used in the attack on Monday. Tuesday, he was charged with 7 counts of first-degree murder. The details of the prior police visits raised questions about whether the Illinois authorities missed opportunities to use their relatively strict firearms laws to block his gun purchases, and about whether a newly signed federal gun law might have made a difference had it been enforced earlier. In a statement, the Illinois State Police defended the decision to grant him a permit to own a gun, which he applied for in December 2019. The police said he appeared to have prepared for weeks to attack the parade on Monday morning, had used a fire escape to climb atop a downtown business to fire dozens of rounds from a high-powered rifle into the crowd. He escaped by discarding his rifle, blending into the crowd, wearing women's clothing. Eventually, they got him, as we all know. So, again, we can go back and forth. This is it's a circular firing squad. And it's almost, weird to use the term firing squad proverbially when we're talking about a literal mass shooting here. But we engage in the same pointless circles here in the United States with this stuff. Well, people need their rights, but in some cases, we might be okay slightly restricting, if only on a temporary basis, after some kind of investigation, even though it's kind of denying people due process, to limit people's ability to legally get firearms. But do we actually enforce those laws? Well, not really. And then Joe Biden wants to do something, and so do Democrats, and Republicans don't want to take away rights, but they're willing to do it. But the bill barely does anything anyway. But had it been enforced, maybe it would have prevented. We need a systemic we need a rewrite. This would be like if you have a script for a film and one person says they want to tweak a little bit of the dialogue. And eventually you come to realize we've got to throw it out and rebuild this thing from the ground up. When other countries look at the United States, and I know the right wingers don't care. The right wingers now, the thing they love saying is, we fought a war to separate from Europe, from England. Why would we care what other countries think about us now? Why do we care what England thinks about what's going on here now? It doesn't matter. We fought to get away from them. Okay. The world looks at what's happening and they see these piecemeal fringe discussions. And by fringe, I mean just dealing with the fringes, the edges of the debate. Well, maybe if you call and you say, I think they're dangerous. Guys, if you're under 25, should you even be able to buy any kind of rifles? I mean, that's one of the points on my 10 to 12 point proposal. If you're under 25, to get any firearm, shouldn't you need community letters of support from adults who say, I have no concerns with this person having a firearm? So again, I know that people love to say, well, this one provision wouldn't have done anything in this particular case. Right. But if you look at my list, which is, I didn't come up with the points, these are points that have been floating around, of 10 to 12 ideas to limit mass shootings, to prevent mass shootings, 4, 5, or even 6 of them could have directly impacted this particular shooter. Having had the knives seized because people were worried he would kill everyone should have disqualified him from legally buying firearms. Oh, but sir, that's not due process. Guys, look at the situation we have in this country. Under 25 straight up shouldn't even be able to get some of these types of weapons. Would have had it, but so I could go on. These things can make a difference. We haven't even tried them. We tried the assault weapons ban in the 90s, and it did reduce the number, frequency, and severity of mass shootings to some degree. Now, some will say, well, was it statistically significant? Okay, that's one of 10 or 12 provisions that I've put together. We have supposedly, I mean, listen, do we really believe doors are going to solve the problem of outdoor parade mass shootings? Do we really believe securing fire escapes is going to solve the issue of shootings in a movie theater? We need systemic change. Very few of those in positions of power are willing to really do it. I'm talking about Republicans here. And, you know, we can keep talking about doors and ceilings and walls and windows all we want. It's not going to make a difference. Big picture. So that's where we are. Police knew about him. They seized his knives. They were worried he was a danger to himself and others. And then he went and legally bought guns and did what he did on Monday. That's where we are. My audience knows I read. I read a ton of books. I read nonfiction. I read fiction at night. I'm always trying to consume information. And the truth is, I don't have the time to read every nonfiction book that I would like to read. One thing I do not have time to add to what I'm reading in paper form is more history. But I want to know about history. And that's where our sponsor, Blinkist, comes in. Blinkist doesn't replace reading books cover to cover the way I love to do. But for example, with everything going on right now with Roe v. Wade, I wanted more of a detailed history of Roe v. Wade in the United States. So on Blinkist, I was able to get a 15-minute condensed audiobook of the Mary Ziegler book, Abortion and the Law in America, Roe v. Wade to the Present. And in 15 minutes, I get a great overview. Blinkist also has slide presentations that will take you about 15 minutes to go through. So it's not to replace reading. It's in addition to, for me, you get the key takeaways from Blinkist from the books I would certainly otherwise miss out on. You can try Blinkist for free for 7 days and get a 25% discount off of a subscription at Blinkist.com/Pacman. The link is down below.